Entitled mother thinks I should give my diabetics snacks to her daughter. So I'm a type 1 diabetic, and in the morning I went out for a bike ride. As I'm a diabetic, I always bring snacks with me in case I go low or get hungry. I bring a juice box, a few glucose tablets, 2 fruit chew bars and 2 granola bars, just enough for me to be able to correct my blood sugar twice, and have a small snack. As I was biking home, I passed someone sitting on the ground who looked like they were kinda distressed, so I pulled over to ask if they were okay. The guy was a little younger than me and told me he was a diabetic and showed me his medic alert necklace. He explained that he had gone low while biking but forgot to refill the snacks in his bag when he had left, so he was trying to figure out what to do. No one to bring him anything but didn't want to call an ambulance over this. I offered him my snacks and to sit with him while we waited for it to go back up, explaining that I was a diabetic. After I had sat down with him and gave him the tablets, a woman came over and asked for my juice box for her daughter. I explained that I was giving him what I had because he was a diabetic and had low blood sugar and I needed the rest to ensure I could get home safe. She started to tell me that she and her daughter had been biking for a few hours and she was hungry and just wanted my juice box and a granola bar. I asked if her daughter was diabetic and she said no, so I apologized and again explained nicely that I need those for myself. The conversation that followed is as such. Entitled mother, so why did you give him some? Me, because he is a diabetic and his blood sugar is very low. For reference, our blood sugar is supposed to be between 4 to 8 and his was 2.3. Entitled mother, do you know him? Me, no, but as a diabetic I know how dangerous lows can be, and if I was in his position I'd hope a fellow diabetic would try to help me. Entitled mother, so you don't know him? The conversation continued like that, she asking why I cared if I didn't know him and me giving the same explanation, until the guy rechecked his blood sugar and it was back up to 3.5 as this was still a little too low for both of us to feel comfortable. I grabbed my juice to give to him and this is when entitled mother tried to grab it out of my hand, saying that if his blood sugar was still low I should just call him ambulance. And then I could give my snacks to her and her daughter. At this point I was honestly kinda pissed and told her to duck off and that as mom she should have thought to brought snacks for her daughter, and if I hadn't gone by what would she have done. She went red in the face, called me a B, and stormed back to her daughter. The guy's levels went up and we parted ways, and as I started to bike away I heard mom shout after me, calling me a B again. Brother-in-law is a type 1 diabetic. Had 3 different times I've had to slap friends away from the sugar section of my cabinet in my glove box in my car. They all get so pissy, but after dealing with 3 diabetic seizures and not being prepared for prevention he gets quiet and spissy before he goes down, and as a brittle diabetic, it happens fast. I'm not ever taking chances of not having stuff on me anytime he could be out with us. Reminds me of the Am I the a-hole about the diabetic checking her blood at her desk and her new coworker telling her that she cannot do that because he has a needle phobia and should do it in the bathroom, etc. No, your tantrums are not more important than someone's life. I also have a fear of needles, like to the point of having anxiety attacks, but I would simply look away. Plus I think it's weird to watch someone testing their blood. Not because it's gross or anything, just because it's weird to stare at people. Lol. Entitled mother knows that missuing emergency services is a crime, right? That instead of getting juice for her kid she could wind up being justifiably arrested and fined? I don't know. I mean we absolutely could have called an ambulance because he did have low blood sugar, but all they would have done was give him some glucose and then maybe take him to the hospital for observation. But we were treating his low okay, and I wasn't going to force him to call 911 when he didn't want to. I'm a 18-year type 1 diabetic. I went out on a walk with friends and forgot to take candies, which I generally do for low. As we were on our way back home, I realized I was low. The walk home was so dreadful. I hated every part of it. Was glad that I reached home safely. Won't ever forget taking something to eat next time. Ate like a monster when I got back home. Really appreciate what you did for that guy. What an awful mother, and what a terrible example she is setting for her child. It is shocking to see people being so rude and demanding, like what goes on in their minds, to make them think what they are doing is okay to do. As a cousin of a type 1, I'd have happily punched her in the crotch. You don't mess with people's health out of laziness / poor planning. Thank you for helping another, and take care of yourself. As a diabetic, being out by yourself with no snacks while you're going low is terrifying. I'm glad you were there to help the guy opus. I like to imagine what these types of people tell about their side of the story to their friends. Entitled mother probably. Some bee on the bike trails today gave her juice and snacks away to a grown man, while she was rude to me, denied me what I'm obviously entitled to, and my hungry thirsty baby who just wanted the snacks. Can you believe she gave her snacks to a grown man instead of my growing angel? As a fellow type 1 diabetic, this pissed me off so goddamn bad. To me, lows are doom. I tend to drop fast and hard. I would never ever hand over my juice, and it's ludicrous that anyone should be expected by anyone else to do so. My husband is type 2, and lows honestly scare me more than highs. Usually when his sugar is high he can just lie down and sleep it off. But once when it was low he was begging me to just let him sleep, and I had to shake him to force him to sip some soda. I thought I was actually going to have to slap him to wake him up. The conversation continued like that. I've learned so much from my 3-year-old about interacting with immature and boneheaded remarks. After the second repetition of why, I turn it around on her. You know the answer to that. Why? I'm glad he's okay, thanks to you. If you didn't show up, who knows? How crazy is it that you happen to pass a person who also has diabetes, but is clearly in distress? It's almost like you were meant to be there. I take it you're not in the US? I had to convert to mg/dl. Anyway, yeah, that's a glucose level below 45 mg/dl and can be lethal to a non-diabetic. Yeah, totally, that's like life-threateningly low. I'm glad you were there for him, and especially since you go through this too, so you understood. Bravo. I'd have risked the assault charge and punched entitled mother in the face. If she kept insisting on stealing, yes, this is what she was trying to do, your juice, I'd ask the other guy to return the favor and pin her to the ground while I basically waterboarded her with the juice. Want some juice? Be here you go. Drinky drinky, but that would probably be tough to explain once the cops showed up. I like the suggestion of screaming hey, that's my purse, and then see what happens. I'm a nurse in the US, and I was confused by that. Every job I've had uses mg/dl, but how is it done overseas? Genuinely curious. It's kids of people like this that usually turn out to be the complete opposite of them and end up going no contact as adults. I happen to be one of those now adult children. My bio mom wasn't quite this bad, but she's a mess. I'm going to call 911 for him and Child Protective Services for your daughter. Me in the shower thinking of what clever thing we oils every said had I been in that scenario. Good for you for helping out someone in need. Blood sugar lows are no joke. They make you feel extremely sick. That guy was so lucky that you came along to help. You did a kind thing. Don't let an entitled bee prevent you from helping someone in the future. I hope good things come your way. I'm glad that in the UK where I live, if anyone tries to snatch something off you, you can legally slap their hand away. Lol. Never had to do it, but I'm waiting for the day a Karen tries to steal from me, so I can see how angry they get. My daughter is type 1 diabetes also. Kudos to you for helping a diabetic out, and bigger kudos for telling that woman to duck off. Damn right she should have known to bring her own drinks and snacks for her daughter and herself. What country do you live in? I've lived in a bunch of countries, and never in any of those cultures would a woman approach a stranger and demand snacks for her daughter, try to grab them from you, tell you to call an ambulance for the fellow diabetic, so her daughter could eat a $1 snack. You ran into a really mentally ill woman. I mean, there are Karens, but your example is so far out there. So, what country please? Too bad no video. Canada, and you'd honestly be surprised by the number of entitled people I've seen /heard/met in this country. I can't believe the stupidity of these people. My uncle late was diabetic, not sure what type, and he lived for 65 years with that thing. Yes, I'm not diabetic and don't know your everyday problems. I had such occurrence with my type 1 diabetic friend. He just passed out in my hands while walking. He instructed me what to do in such case for good. I laid him down and poured some water. He got conscious and immediately checked his blood sugar. It was extremely low, don't remember exact value. I ran to the store and bought juice box, chocolate bar and some water. He ate them and his blood sugar was very little below normal range, which wasn't so bad. He go home and got his food and medications. I'm really sorry, people. Help those in need. Please. You would like to be helped if got in such scenario. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more videos. Also like the video if you enjoy it.